Hey everyone, this is the What Happened channel, and today we're going to be talking about some of the more sinister stories of Satanism. Satanism is a topic that fascinates many people, but it is also a controversial and often misunderstood subject. So, without further ado, let's get into the most shocking stories involving Satanism. Before we begin, I would like to emphasize that Satanism is not a single or maintained religion. There are different currents of Satanism. Some are more esoteric, others are more magically oriented, and still others are more philosophical. However, what unites these different currents is the figure of Satan as a symbol of rebellion, freedom, and individuality. The Murder of Sharon Tate by Charles Manson. One of the most famous cases involving Satanism is the 1969 murder of actress Sharon Tate and her friends by cult leader Charles Manson and his followers. Manson believed in a conspiracy theory involving the Hollywood elite and believed that his crimes were a way to start a race war. Although Manson never declared himself a Satanist, he used elements of satanic symbology in his speeches. The People's Temple Sect. The People's Temple was a sect founded in the 1950s by Jim Jones. Jones believed in a mixture of socialism, Christianity, and revolutionary ideology. In 1978, he led more than 900 followers to a remote farming community in Guyana, where he ordered them to commit mass suicide. Although the sect did not identify itself as Satanist, Jones used elements of satanic symbology in their rituals and believed that he himself was a god of sorts. The Murder of Elise Poller by members of Metallica. In 1996, 3 members of the band Metallica were arrested for their part in the murder of a 19-year-old fan named Elise Poller. A young man had been strangled and raped in a satanic ritual. Although band members denied any involvement in the murder, they admit to listening to music by a black metal band called Burzum, which was known for its satanic lyrics and symbology. The assassination of Nicole von Kennel by members of the Order of the Solar Temple sect. The Order of the Solar Temple was a sect founded in Switzerland in 1984, which preached a mixture of esotericism, Christianity, and occult traditions. In 1994, members of the sect murdered Nicole von Kennel, a former member who had defected. The crime was committed in a satanic ritual, in which Nicole's body was mutilated and burned. The sect was responsible for a series of other violent crimes and mass suicides, and was disbanded by authorities in 1997. The Murder of Maria Ridulph by a certain Satanist. In 1957, Maria Ridulph, a 7-year-old girl, mysteriously disappeared in Sycamore, Illinois. His body was only found 5 months later, in a forest near the city. The case went unsolved for decades, until in 2012, a man named Jack McCullough was arrested for the murder. McCullough was a former police officer who, at the time of the crime, lived next door to Maria's home. He also had connections to satanic cult groups in the 1950s, which suspected that Maria's murder was part of a satanic ritual. However, there is no hard evidence for this theory, and McCullough denies committing the crime. These are just a few examples of the most shocking stories involving Satanism. While many people associate Satanism with violent and criminal practices, it is important to remember that the vast majority of Satanists are people who seek individual freedom and celebrate life. As with any religion, there are extremists and fanatics who use satanic symbology to justify violence, but this is not an intrinsic characteristic of Satanism per se. Thanks for watching and see you next time.